Pep Talk UK. It's time!
Everyone talk good game, but it don't really faze me. The man that ain't mad like Max, the boy not murky like Ace B. And them gal walk the slide on the back bar in like a baby.
Oi, oi, welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast, the podcast that talks the major boxing and football news from around the globe, real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag real talk on Pep Talk, hashtag Pep Talk boys. I'm your host Frankie B and I'm joined by a special panel today. Let's go. Firstly, our very own French panelist from Paris, Pascal, how are ya?
Pute, j'ai dit pute. Frankie B, bonsoir mon ami, comment ça va?
Yeah, I'm all good mate, all good mate. I think we need to give Giroud a small tribute after his last minute goal at Old Trafford. Are you ready?
Olivier Giroud. Oh,
Na Giroud. Hey Pascal, just quickly, we've got a busy show today. Do you want to shout out your social media quickly?
Of course. I haven't received any tender word from any ladies. My Twitter, ladies, is Pascal_de_sad. Pascal_de_sad. At Twitter and Instagram, please, I need more female fans. Please follow me.
Brilliant. Now, secondly, I'd like to introduce a Pep Talk lady straight out of South London. A former multi-kickboxing world champion, now turned aspiring boxer. Can we welcome the blonde bombshell, Angela Hepton?
Hey!
How are ya?
I'm good. How you doing?
All good over here, you know. I hear Don Charles is improving your jab and your dab.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, jab's on fire. The jab is on fire. It's lit.
It's all lit. Brilliant. Okay, now moving on, I'd like to introduce another man making another appearance on the show from the Seven Wolves boxing platform. Terry, how you doing, geez?
Wow, I'm good. Glad that Arsenal scraped a draw. You know, the usual pains of being an Arsenal fan.
That's it. It looks good and then it always goes pear-shaped.
We love it, really.
You want to shout out your social media, Terry?
Definitely, man. Instagram at the Seven Wolves, the number 7, and same for Twitter at the Seven Wolves. It can get fiery, but I am trying to be a better person, I promise.
You've seen the light. Just give me the light and pass the joint. Okay.
Wow.
Right, brilliant. Finally, I'd like to introduce a Geordie football fan, Paul Mitchell. Paul, how's it going, my friend?
That's Geordie enough for you.
Paul, I need to ask you this. Have you got two brothers called Grant and Phil Mitchell? Because I don't want no problems. You understand? I don't want no problems.
I've got a brother, Tony. That's it.
Tony. All right. Okay.
Tony. There you go. No. I'm always getting that. All the. I'm not related to the guy who does the hair products neither. So.
Did you do a routine check?
I wish I was a fiver behind him. Put it that way.
Hey, Paul.
Absolutely.
Being a big Newcastle fan, you must be really happy with the result on the weekend. 2-0.
Couldn't be happier. I'm in a very unfamiliar territory for me. Being in a Newcastle fan, unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Can we get a YI man?
YI man?
There you go, wicked.
Quality. Paul, you want to shout out your social media?
Yeah, it's at Gaston Grimsdyke. That's me on Twitter. And the blog is excelsiorspeaks.blogspot.com.
Wow.
And that's where my caricatures and cartoons and stuff are.
Brilliant.
So, there we go.
Top stuff.
Those caricatures are wicked as well. I'm waiting for mine, by the way, Paul.
Brilliant stuff.
You want, Ange? Just send me some photos through and I'll knock you one up, love. No problem.
Wicked. I'm a happy girl now.
Sounds good. It sounds good. Right, now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. Let's go. First of all, we're going to talk the boxing. The breaking news tonight. Dave Allen is going to fight Luis Ortiz December 10th on the Anthony Joshua undercard.
Ooh la 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 la.
Wow, we. Terry, your reaction to this breaking news?
One day we're going to get someone killed doing this, is my intuitive view. I love Dave Allen. I think Dave Allen's great for the sport of boxing, but Dave Allen is a man who I don't think has had 40 boxing bouts in total, amateur and professional. And he's going to face Luis Ortiz, who's probably boxed 40 times in 2 years as an amateur. I worry because if it turns into a bit of a beating, which it could, because Ortiz is, he's one of the 5 best heavyweights out there. We'll look at ourselves and we'll say, Dave doesn't need to do this. And then the second thing for me about Dave Allen is he's never had a chance to develop as a boxer. Like, he's never been fed fighters with a losing record, so we don't know how good he could be. He's almost turned into a journeyman before he's had the chance to be a prospect. And I think that's really unfair.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And I think the other thing as well is that, okay, Luis Ortiz had a bad performance with Malik Scott.
Really bad. Stinker.
It's really, actually shockingly
stinker.
Terrible. But we all know he is a better fighter than that. We all know he's got more in the tank. And maybe the occasion of everything just got to him. But I just think this is... I feel like Dave Allen's been kind of like a sacrificial lamb at the moment. I hate to be hard on him. I think he's a great fighter and I don't think we've seen the best of him and he's got a long way to go. But, as Terry said, he's not really being given the chance to progress. He's kind of getting thrown around with the top heavyweights and it's only going to go one way. It's only going to knock his confidence and, he's just not going to progress from it. So, there you go. That's what I think.
Pascal?
Well,
reaction?
Frankie B, Dave Allen is a friend of the show, and we had him recently, and we like him very much.
Big up the Rhino, big up.
We very much big up the Rhino, but I'm very concerned about his next opponent because Luis Ortiz is I still continue to rate him despite the Malik Scott performance. I think that Malik Scott had a game plan which to frustrate Luis Ortiz, but against Dave Allen it's going to be a completely different fight, and I'm concerned that what I certainly want is the safety of all the boxers, and we don't want a difficult situation such as the George Grove and Goodneck fight that happened last week, where Goodneck is currently hospitalized, facing recovery. Mm-hmm. We don't want this. We don't want these repeats of bad bad situations within the boxing sport. So, but I wish Dave Allen all the best. But I believe that Luis Ortiz will be victorious.
Wow. Ooh wee. Now we're going to talk the boxing results. Andre Ward beat Sergey Kovalev. Now, there's a lot of talk of robbery. Terry, was it the right result, or was it actually, in fact, a robbery?
I always say to people, if you look at a boxing bout that goes 12 rounds, I think it's like 2,100 seconds approximately. Now, punches are probably being thrown once every 4 seconds, maybe landed once every 16 seconds. So you say to yourself, for every punch that connects, there's about 15.6 seconds where, if you believe most boxing fans, most armchair fans, nothing happens. It's like dark matter in space. But that's when the real boxing happens. Like, for me, boxing is everything that leads up to the punch and everything that happens after the punch. So if you measure boxing that way, then it wasn't a robbery, because Andre Ward boxed well. Kovalev punched well, he didn't box well. Because if Kovalev had boxed well, with the power he has, he would have ended the fight in 3 rounds.
Now, Angela, some thought Kovalev won the contest. What did you think? What was your opinion?
Oh, this is going to stir things up, isn't it? I think Kovalev did win.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. And I think I think Terry's right. You know, Andre. At the end of the day, it's boxing. Andre Ward outboxed him. I think Kovalev threw better punches, better connecting punches. Andre Ward kind of threw the jab a lot, but they didn't all really connect. And at the end of the day, that's what they're marking him on. You know, is that jab. You know, the backhand didn't really come out to play at all. It was that front hand all the time, and not all of them were really great connecting shots. It could have been a draw. It could have been a draw. But I personally think Kovalev did it. I think, you know, you had 3 American judges, and we all know that one of them just completely, I mean, I don't know what fight he was watching. I mean, it was ridiculous. You know, you're in America, you've got 3 American judges. Kovalev really had to knock him out to win that fight, really and truly, if we look at it that way. But I do. I'm sorry, guys. I think Kovalev won that fight. Just my opinion.
Different points of view. Now, Pascal. Andre Ward went down in the second round, but he boxed his way back to victory. Did he do enough?
As they say in Russia, привет. This is Frankie B. I'll be very honest with you. I watched the fight about 3 times. The first time I watched the fight, I believe that Kovalev won the fight. Then I watched it again a second time, but what I did this time around is I turned the volume down because Jim Lampley is such a knobhead, and the commentary was very much one-sided against Kovalev. He was annoying me, so because of his nonsensical ranting about Kovalev winning rounds and punching, you know, in midair and scoring points against Andre Ward, I had to watch the fight again without the television volume. And I tell you what, once I looked at the fight a second time and I scored it on the cards, I had 115 to 114 to Andre Ward. And that is because, for me, Kovalev had the great opportunity to end the fight, you know, and to terminate the fight, but the knockdown came out too early for Kovalev, and as a result of that, Andre Ward readjusted very well, and Andre Ward realized that, you know, the right hand that put him down was very much a danger hand throughout the fight, and Andre boxed a very clever fight, and it's also a very interesting fight because a lot of body punches were thrown by Andre Ward, who is a master of the body punch, and people forget that these are scoring points in boxing, you know. If you score a body punch or punch to the body, it's a scoring point, and Kovalev, I felt during the clinches, didn't use enough of his strength, of his natural strength. He's a bigger guy naturally, and I didn't see that Kovalev did that very well, particularly, you know, in the second part of the fight, you know, he allowed Andre Ward to dictate the fight, and you know, Andre Ward showed true fighting spirit, and he edged it for me, in my opinion, in the second after a second assessment of the fight.
And then your third assessment?
No, but my third assessment, Angela, you know, it's still very much the same. You know, I believe that Kovalev relied on his power. He relied on the fact that he thought he was going to knock him out, you know, and the knockdown gave him some belief that the fight would end earlier on. But, you know, during the fight, you know, I heard that the trainer of Andre Ward, you know, Virgil Hunter, was saying that Kovalev was tiring. You know, he was slowing down, he has stamina problems, and, you know, Andre Ward just took advantage of that, you know, and Andre Ward almost bullied himself back into the fight, you know, and the judges, you know, commended him for that. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Kovalev is the champion. His fight, as far as I'm concerned, the judges will always tend to favor the champion, and the challenger has to do enough to convince the judges that he's been rewarded with the championship belts. And in my estimation, Kovalev lost those belts. You know, Kovalev didn't do enough towards the second end of the fight to command these belts and to remain champion. He allowed Andre Ward to come back into the fight when he had an opportunity to close the show.
Yeah, I think he gave away too much too early, like you say, in the second round. He gave it away, gave the game plan away, which did allow Andre Ward to readjust and adjust his game and adapt to what was coming at him. I do think
you kind of figured him out, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely, and he adapted his fight to suit. But I do think it's just wrong that all 3 judges were American. I mean, is it just me that thinks that in America? You know, it's Andre Ward.
But it often
really,
happens.
I think although Kovalev was the champion, Kovalev was the champion, I think that, you know, it's Andre Ward. I think, you know, the only way you're going to beat him really is to knock him out.
But Angela, but also you've got to remember that HBO, you know, the network was supporting Kovalev. Also, Kovalev's promotional team is part of the negotiation for them to have a foreign judge if they felt it necessary. You know, it's all part of the negotiation. So to some extent, you can blame the Sergei Kovalev's promotional team by ensuring that they didn't have the right level of international judges to judge the fight. So we cannot blame Andre Ward. I'm not blaming anyone. Hold up. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that regardless of the outcome, forget the fight for a second, I just think that having 3 American judges is just a little bit naughty. That's just...
But
do you think that 3... sorry, Frankie B. So do you think that 3 English judges will have scored it differently?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. Or have 1 American, 1 Russian, and 1 from somewhere else.
Well, I'm sure Kovalev's not complaining about the American dollars in his bank account.
I bet he's not.
Cha-ching! Now, Paul, did you get to watch this massive fight over the weekend?
I watched highlights, and I'm siding with Angela, I think, a little bit more, because one of the things I wanted to throw out to you guys, I felt that watching Kovalev, his work seemed untidy. You know, like he was brawling more. I mean, he's a bigger, stronger guy for sure. But Andres seemed his shot seemed a little cleaner. I know they didn't all connect. But for me, Kovalev was trying to roll over him, was trying to maul him about, knock him about. And again, it's just a personal preference for me. But I like clean work. I like a good, I like lots of punches.
Good, you like good housekeeping, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I don't like a big sort of car park brawl kind of fight. I like a bit more classical. Mark was a Queensbury, all that kind of thing. I just thought Kovalev looked a little messy, and Andre looked to get some sharp stuff off. But also,
that's deliberate. So what Kovalev will do is he will throw you off by. So if you notice, he's all arms and shoulders to the point where you can't really time what he's doing. While he's in motion, he lets shots go. And then he just catches you and you're thinking, he can't punch from there. And then he will throw one and it will be quite powerful. There's that moment where Andre Ward tried the bolo punch and he had to eat a jab for trying that. And the jab seemed to come out of nowhere.
So I've not seen a lot of Kovalev, but like I said, but for me, possibly a draw. I'm siding with Ange anyway. There you go.
Wow. So what's that, 2-2?
That's because he knows. Always agree with the woman.
That's because he was looking at your pics and he said, yeah, she's a nice blonde.
Agree with a woman. There you go.
That's it. Keep the woman sweet. Life is sweet.
But Frankie B, what about you? What did you make of the fight?
Well, I thought Andre Ward won. I thought Kovalev started well. I thought he put the pressure on. That knockdown was fantastic. But I felt that after round 5, he kind of slowed up and was missing a lot. And like Paul said, Andre Ward had a lot of the cleaner work. And I think just marginally, that gave him the victory. Anyway, guys, moving on. Now, Andre Ward has won all 3 belts from Kovalev, but there's one more belt remaining, the WBC belt. And Superman Adonis Stevenson has already issued a challenge. Terry, is this a fight the boxing fans would look forward to?
I don't think so.
Me too.
Adonis Stevenson has a record of talking and never backing it up. So I don't think Ward particularly needs him. I actually think what Ward should do after he wins the rematch with Kovalev is just start calling up the guys from 168, call up the De Gales, call up the guys like George Groves and say, look, let's have the meaningful fights here, because they're the fights we really want to see. De Gale and Ward are of a similar generation, different Olympic cycles, but age-wise they're of a similar generation. Let those guys go head to head.
Pascal,
wait.
If Andre Ward fights Stevenson, in your eyes, who's the favourite?
In my eyes, I believe that Andre Ward will defeat Stevenson. Stevenson for some reason fancies himself against Andre Ward. for some reason, we've never heard him to challenge Kovalev in a way that we believed him, because Adonis Stevenson is not very good at promoting himself, and I do believe that Stevenson has been ducking Kovalev for quite some time. He's been quite scared of him. But it appears to be less scared of Andre Ward. Let's not forget Andre Ward, moved up the division. So, for him, for Stevenson, it's a fight that you probably believe that is easier for him to take than the Kovalev fight. But I think that, Andre Ward should say no to that fight and should issue a rematch with Kovalev. Certainly from a financial point of view, there will be a lot more money at stake, and because of the controversy, I use that in inverted commas, of the result which was announced last weekend, there will be certainly a lot more eyes glued on the television for second fight, so I think for Andre Ward, he's better off fighting Kovalev, and perhaps, as Terry said, there will be some interesting matchups. Let's see how James Gale fares up against Badou Jack. If he beat Badou Jack, there may well be an opportunity for the Gale to meet him at the catch weight. Perhaps, there'll be a very good, interesting fight. And of course, we've got George Groves also, who also won at the weekend. Why not? George Groves is desperate for a big blockbuster fight.
Desperate.
Desperate. Of course, he's desperate, yes.
Brilliant. Now, there's another big fight this weekend. The big fights just keep coming. That is Vasyl Lomachenko will defend his WBO super featherweight title against Nicholas Walters. Angela, Lomachenko is highly rated and he's highly celebrated by the boxing fans. How do you think Walters will look to cope with this talented boxer?
I think he's going to struggle. I think he's going to struggle. To be honest with you, I haven't really seen that much of him, so I'm not the best person to ask, I'll be completely honest. But knowing him, I just think he's going to struggle with this fight. And that's all I've got to say, really. He's going to struggle. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and possibly the toughest that he's yet to face.
Terry, Walters says he's going to look to knock out Lomachenko. Is he having a laugh, or do you think it's like a real possibility?
It was his only option in this fight. I don't think you're going to outbox Lomachenko. I think anywhere from 126 to 135, he outboxes almost everyone except for Robert Easter Jr. at 135. And that's only because Robert Easter Jr. is an absolute giant. But I would like to see Walters shutting off that left-hand side, because Lomachenko likes to be clever drifting to his right, and I think if Walters can just be smart enough to shut that channel off, keep pumping the jab in his face, and it's a pretty hard jab, as Bellaire found out, what he can do is limit the options and actually make Lomachenko fight. I don't want this to be an exhibition, I want it to be a genuine fight.
Well, it should be interesting. I'm certainly looking forward to it. Walters looks good. He's got a good knockout ratio. Now, domestically, there's a big Matchroom card at the SSE Arena in Wembley. Ben Hall fights Carsten Jones. Now, Terry, just staying with you here. I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Ben Hall against Carsten Jones. Is it way too early for Ben Hall?
No. I have a real campaign about stop feeding prospects rubbish. Let them have these fights like the Carsten Joneses. I don't mind if boxers lose a couple. And Carsten Jones is the sort of guy who, if you're not at the peak of your game, he'll expose you. He's exposed Kell Brook, he's exposed Brian Rose before. Because Carsten Jones is one of those guys who was super talented, but never ever had the machine behind him. So he had to be the away fighter in order to make a living. But he's good. If Ben Hall beats Carsten Jones, then we can say, this guy's the real deal. If he doesn't, we know what he needs to work on. But let's stop hoping these guys come good. Let's find out as early as possible, do these guys have what it takes? They did it with Charlie Edwards.
Yeah, that was kind of tricky for him, wasn't it?
As fans, it's what we want to know. We're tired of being fed guys like Luke Campbell, where you give this guy all these fights, and as soon as he fought someone who could stand up for himself, he went to pieces.
Now, Pascal,
oui.
Ben Hall, he fights Carsten Jones, and Carsten Jones had a hell of a fight. First fight with Kell Brook.
Yes, I remember. Very good fight.
How do you think he's going to find a way to beat Carsten Jones?
You know, I mean, what's very interesting is, following on the point that Terry just made, I'm just wondering whether there should be a certain level of amateur fights that each professional boxer should engage in, because, the general public, we are overwhelmed now with a lot of fighting on the television, let's not forget there's also the rise of MMA, and a lot of people that are almost finding MMA more interesting because the champions are fighting the champions.
Very good point.
So it's important for the sport of boxing, which is much older sport, a sport that has birth in the antiquity of history, and therefore I uphold boxing amongst all other sports. It's important that we keep the culture of boxing and the best fighting the best to carry on. And the Carson Jones fight, to me is a very good fight for Ben Hall, because Carson Jones is a very good fighter, he's a good forward fighter. And as Terry said, he will expose you if you've not been training particularly well, or if your talent is being blown up out of proportion. We'll soon find out over the weekend. But Ben Hall also comes with very good prospect. He's very well esteemed. At amateur ranks. He's a good friend of the show. We've had him before, and and every time we've interviewed Ben Hall, he's always after a victory or training towards a victory. So we expect Ben Hall to also display his skills. And show to the rest of the world that he has arrived as a professional. The approach I like to take, Frankie, and the rest of the panelists, is that if you become a professional boxer, then it means that you have the opportunity to start fighting at the highest level from the very beginning. We shouldn't handhold you to become a world champion. You should almost be ready and believe that you have enough in your locker to become champion. So it will be an interesting fight over the weekend, and I would like to see Ben Hall prosper, but I would not be surprised if Carson Jones causes an upset, because he's a very good fighter.
Ben Hall, come on, let's do it, Ben Hall, let's get in there. Bring home the bacon. Also, on the same card is the pro debut of Olympic gold medalist Katie Taylor. Angela, are you excited? This is your domain.
Oh, do you know what? I am so excited. The first pro female to get signed by Matchroom. It's huge news for women in boxing right now. Again, I've not really seen too much of Katie's work. I've watched a few video clips of her training. She's fast, she's quick, she's strong, she's so fit. And I think it was you, Terry, actually, that posted an article today on Twitter, and I retweeted it as well, because and it was saying, who is she? Who is her competition right now? Because she has beaten everybody in the amateurs. So I'm kind of in agreement with that. Are there going to be any women out there in the pro scene that are going to push Katie, that aren't just going to be another walkover? I mean, she's a phenomenal fighter. She really is, and I just hope that we're not let down with fights that are too easy for her. And I don't think she would want that as well. I think as a pro fighter, no one wants easy fights. No one wants that. You want to make yourself look good, and the way to do that is to get stuck in and have a fight. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I can't stand fighting, and the fight's just, a washout. But you know what? It's exciting times. If they sign one, who knows? They might sign 2, 3, 4. So it's a good time for women in boxing right now. Can I just do a mention as well? Natasha Gale from the GB team took a gold medal at the European Championships today. So congratulations, Natasha, because she's another one in the middleweight division. She's definitely one to watch out for when she turns over, and she's so early on in her career as well. But you've got all these women now and she's only the second female to do that, other than Nicola Adams. So many women are coming through and achieving lots. It's an exciting time for women in boxing. It really is. But
of course, I agree with you. There's also a very good prospect called Angela Hebden. Also,
she's blonde and all that. 5'9".
She's very good. She's very good. She throws a very, very good combination.
She looks like Cameron Diaz. She's got a smile of an angel. Blah blah blah.
Carry on.
Lovely dimples. We love dimples in women, and very good, lovely high cheeks. Very, very, very exciting fighter. Very exciting fighter.
Thank you. But you know, it's exciting times right now. It really is. You know, you've got some top coaches training some top women, and yeah, it's all really looking so positive.
Yes, it is, certainly. Now we're moving on. It's interview time. Ahead of the big Matchroom boxing card at the SSC Wembley Arena, our boxing correspondent Shaz Chowdhury met up with some exciting Matchroom fighters, Craig Spider Richards, Jake Ball and Reece Bellotti.
Pep Talk UK are joined by a very good, an old friend of mine, Craig Richards. How you doing, Craig?
I'm good, frankly. I'm very good.
Craig, you're fighting on the Matchroom card at Wembley Arena on the 26th.
Yeah, that's correct.
If for people that don't know too much about you, tell us about your weight. What weight are you fighting at?
I box at super middleweight. I'm tall for the weight, 6'3", and yeah, I'm a problem in the division.
Now, I've been watching a lot of your fights. You're 6-0?
Yeah, 6-0.
6-0. You've fought all over the show. You've been at York Hall, which is becoming a little bit of a home.
Yeah.
You've been at the O2 Arena.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you've been at the Copper Box.
Yeah, I've been at the Copper Box Arena as well, yeah.
And now you're at Wembley.
Now I'm at Wembley Arena, so I've been all around the whole of London, all the best venues in London so far. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, and keep winning at them all, so it's all been good. Journey continues, and we're just looking to, you know, keep going through. It's not really the venues we're thinking about, it's more moving up the ladder, moving up the ranks, and keep winning and go for titles soon. That's what it's about.
You have a nickname?
Yes, Spider.
Where did that come from?
Oh, so basically when I was sparring, I kept hitting people with, and even in fights I was hitting people with various shots from everywhere. They started saying, there's someone else involved, this guy can't only have two hands, he's hitting me from everywhere, whipping shots from everywhere. So there's like, yeah, he's like a spider, and Pete called me Spider, and we stuck with that, so that's where it come from, the Spider.
The Spider. I love it. Now, who's your trainer?
Peter Sims.
And how's training going?
It's going great, we're working hard every day, you know, like obviously I'm from South London, I travel up to Essex every single day in camp, there all day. We train, we work hard, and you know, I diet right, eat right, and I just work hard and just keep improving, like each session, each week, just taking knowledge and just keep working hard.
Now, there's a lot of you in that same little cliche or gang or squad.
Yeah.
Who are you fighting around?
What do you mean?
Like in and around, you train with a group of lads. I see you doing your sprints.
Yeah.
And they're all pro fighters.
Yeah.
So you got a nice little group there. Who are you doing your little runs with every day?
Well, in the gym we're doing our runs. When we're at the Sims gym, we were doing the runs. I'm with like Charlie Flynn, Ben Hall. There's Mike. There's Miles. There's Ryan. Then we're at the Matchroom with Connor Ben. We're with O'Hara Davis. We're with Felix Cash, Dan, Martin Ward,
do you know what?
Ted Cheeseman.
That's a lot of talent. You're training with.
Yeah, a lot of talent. So everyone's hungry, everyone's just talented. So we're always working, sparring. Everyone just, you know, like not giving it their all, because it's not about, but everyone's learning and trying to progress every time and pushing each other. So it's great. It's like iron sharpens iron. Being around all the best prospects, you're only going to get better.
Who wins in the races?
When we do our sprints, I always win. I always come first in my sprints.
You know, all of you I interview, everyone's a winner, and none of you. You're so competitive, all of you.
You see the videos, I'm always first. For instance, if we have 12 races, guaranteed minimum 10 I've won.
And who's the slow coach?
I don't expose him.
I'm going to get a zoom lens and film me and work it out for myself.
I'm never one to kick a man while he's down. I'll let him make his mistakes behind closed doors, because that's what it's about. Just, you know, progress behind closed doors. As long as you're turning up and fighting right on fight night, that's all what matters.
Now, Craig, you've got a lot of good people around you, friends that I've seen come with you to venues. I've seen your family join you at venues.
Yeah.
They're vocal, they support you.
Yeah.
We at Pep Talk UK, like you, will be supporting you. I personally cheer you on every time I see you. So I'm just waiting for you to start putting a few belts around your waist.
Yeah, that's what it's about. We nearly had a title fight, which for this show, which never went according to plan for whatever reasons. But I think after this one, it'll definitely be a title fight. So yeah, just looking forward to getting ready for that, and then move on titles per titles till we make our way to the top, really.
For people that want to follow you on Insta, on Twitter, Facebook and social media, how can they follow you?
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter at Craig L. Richards. Instagram _Craig Richards _ and Facebook's Craig Richards. Yeah.
And have you got a message for your fans out there?
Thank you for supporting. Keep supporting. I love the support. I love hearing you lot out there when I'm out there. I really appreciate it. And just keep supporting. Love it. Team Richards.
We wish you the best of luck come fight night. We also wish you the best of luck for 2017.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Pep Talk will be following.
Good seeing you as always. Thanks.
Nice one, Craig. Appreciate it. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks.
Pep Talk UK are joined once again by a friend of the show, Jake the Blade Bull. How you doing, Jake?
All good, Shaz, mate. All good. How are you?
I'm always well, Jake. Better for seeing you. You're fighting Saturday night, Matchroom card. How's training been? How's camp been?
To be honest, your camp's gone terrific. Yeah, good sparring, some good strength and conditioning work. Everything's gone to plan. So come a week Saturday, you're going to see the best of Jake Bull.
Now, I've seen you sparring with some very awkward customers. You've been fighting close in, you've been fighting at range, you've been taking on middleweights, heavyweights, light heavies. You've been mixing out this time round.
Definitely. Well, I think with sparring, it's good to get a good variety of opponents. So not just one dimension. You know what I mean? Like different lengths, different reaches, different sizes, different weights. And for this fight, we've covered literally every angle. So it's going to. So no matter what comes to me, November 26th, we're going to deal with it.
I've also seen that you've been doing a lot of work with the Equilibrium boys. What does that entail?
Equilibrium, I've been with them for my last, since my 6th fight, and they're absolutely great bunch of lads. The guy Jay who trains me, absolutely amazing. What he does with me just works perfect with my style, especially with boxing. Like it's not all about all the heavy bulking stuff. It's just explosive, powerful work, and it's paid off for my last 2 fights. I've had 2 good knockouts, and we're hoping to keep that going on November 26th.
I've seen a picture of you on social media, you topless, tensing up, and you look ripped. What's the secret?
Hard work and dedication and clean eating. Now, and all jokes aside, this is the best I've felt, best I've looked in any fight I've had so far. I think as every fight goes on, I'm progressing good. I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting fitter. And I'll be honest, I'm excited. I'm excited for November 26th. Can't really let too much out of the bag, but all I can say is and the new.
I'm aware of the and the new, and I'll be there to watch you on the night. Now, apart from it being a fight that you're looking forward to, potential belt on the line, it's also your birthday.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm 24 on that day, so it's going to be a nice little birthday present to myself.
And you've been on a strict diet. You've been watching what you eat. You eat clean anyway. Is there time for a bit of bubbly afterwards and a bit of cake come end of fight night?
No, definitely a bit of cake. To be honest, I don't really drink anyway, so I'm not a massive drinker, but junk food is a definite.
Well, we at Pep Talk UK wish you the best of luck fight night. Hope all goes well, and we'll be there to support you and cheer you on.
Massive thanks, okay. Cheers, guys.
Pep Talk UK are joined by Mr. Fantastic, Reece the Bomber Bellotti. How you doing, Reece?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
I've had a good watch of you recently. I've been watching you sparring, I've been watching you training. How's it all been coming along for your fight?
Yeah, all good, mate. I've been sparring a lot this time for this camp, which is good. Because Bailey's a tough fighter and I'm not taking him lightly. Simple as that.
I saw you sparring the now Commonwealth champion, Duke Micah, and you guys went to war. What do you learn from sparring?
You practice a lot of things. Like obviously, gym gives you something to go by, and you just try and execute it in sparring, basically.
At one Jake Bull.
At one Jake Bull still in the building. We have this on every interview where Jake Bull decides he wants to crash in on your interviews. But you're a bit more of a gentleman, aren't you?
I am indeed, mate. I won't be shouting in his interview.
Apart from the sparring, strength and conditioning, everything else, how's that been going?
Yeah, all good, mate. Literally, I've been working hard on fitness as well. We've literally just come from the track now, and we're just about to start our second session of the day. So no, I'm all good, looking forward to it.
You've been previously marked to fight Bailey, and that didn't happen, and you ended up fighting at York Hall. You had a good little fight at York Hall, a good little workout. It was a good little opponent. He came forward at you. How did you deal with him, and what was the end result?
He was a tough little fighter, come forward from Nicaragua. They're all tough from over there for some reason. And no, done well. I just executed the game plan and stopped him in the third, I believe. I think it was.
What can we expect come fight night?
Hopefully some good action and to entertain the fans. You know what I mean? I like being in a good fight. I expect Bailey to be tough and fit, so it'll be a good fight.
Well, we at Pep Talk UK will be there fight night. We're supporting you, cheering you on. Wish you all the best, Reece the Bomber Bellotti.
Thanks, mate. I'll see you there.
Lovely. Cheers, buddy.
See you, mate.
Thank you, Shaz. Now it's football time. Now let's review some of the major Champions League news. Firstly, Spurs are out of the Champions League. Now, this kind of breaks my heart. Maybe, maybe not.
No, it doesn't. You love it.
Paul, what's your reaction to this massive news? Spurs are out already.
Well, the thing is, Frankie, I'm stunned that the great Moussa Sissoko wasn't able to rescue Spurs in that little cameo that he so kindly gave them towards the end of the game.
30 million.
Stop laughing. No, we shouldn't laugh. Well, it's shocking, really. It's shocking. Spurs have got the tools to do the job, and yet, I just don't understand. I don't understand what the problem is. I mean, I'd heard from a Spurs fan that there'd been a fallout between Levy and Pochettino in the close season because Levy wasn't going to put his hand in his pocket. Poch, well, no surprise there. Poch wanted Wijnaldum for 25 mil. We held out. Levy said no. Pochettino complained, and then when Sissoko came up for 30, the story goes that Poch went to Levy and went, "You either buy this guy or I'm going."
Wow.
And they bought him literally with seconds to spare in the window. Now that's not, it feels true anyway. It feels like a true story. But there you go. That's what I heard.
Terry, do you think it was an absolute blunder for Spurs to play their home games at Wembley?
I do. And I get called a weirdo for saying this. I genuinely think there's something spiritual about playing in a stadium where many have come before you and many will follow after you.
Yeah, and it's also down the road from Stonebridge Park,
which is never great. I don't know if anyone lives in Stonebridge. Apologies for that, but it's not the most picturesque. So I think it takes years to learn how to play in the Champions League. Like, you have to build momentum. Like, there are a few teams who come in and they do well for 2 or 3 seasons, but they normally fall out, like Valencia in the early part of the 2000s, who were good. But to do it season after season, you need these sorts of moments that Tottenham are having now. Mm-hmm. I feel for them across many levels, but the squad they have is good for the Premiership because Premiership is quite an attacking league, so Spurs can hit you on the break or they can catch you with their pressing game. But in Europe, where things are a bit more considered and defences are a lot more conservative, they're being found out and they don't have a plan B. And I think in Europe, you need a plan B.
Yeah. Well, what about Arsenal, Pascal? Arsenal managed tonight a 2-2 draw with PSG.
Well, for Arsenal tonight, it was an unlucky performance because, they came from behind to score an equalizer. Again, Giroud is just coming to the rescue. After Edinson Cavani scored the first goal, Giroud comes in and equalizes. And also there was an own goal as well, scored by Paris Saint-Germain to give Arsenal the lead. And unfortunately, our very own Alexis Iwobi scored a goal for Paris Saint-Germain and gave them the opportunity to go to Paris with a point, But look, I mean, at the end of the day, Arsenal were already through to the next round, so it was not much of of an issue for Arsenal, but I think Wenger would have wanted to at least win the game, and to score maximum points. Leicester are through, and they've done really, really well. Ranieri has managed to do extremely well with his team, and Wenger just wanted to also seal the deal, as they say, and beat Paris Saint-Germain on home soil after drawing with them at the Parc des Princes, in the first leg. But look, we still very much, it's a good result. Arsenal are top of the group, which is very good. And that doesn't necessarily happen quite often, which means there's a possibility of them, it's theory, provided that everything goes well, to qualify for at least the second and third round of the Champions League, So I think it's a pleasant result for Arsenal, and they can now concentrate on the league until the Champions League draws, is announced in early next year.
Terry, do you feel that Arsenal have let go of another good result again?
I think we've bottled it. This is the kind of game where, for all of his faults, you saw Cavani step up and take responsibility and do what he needed to do. Now, for me, Ozil needed to do that. Ozil needed to get the ball and make it move quickly. So when you have Ramsey and Ozil in the same team, it just slows the ball down. At the moment it should, but normally Ozil is quick at releasing the ball, and so we never got to let the pace in the side shine. And Paris Saint-Germain were given an easier ride than they deserved. I'm nervous because I don't want to finish second in this group and end up having to play Barca or Bayern again, because then we know we're not going to progress. We need to sign someone who can play on the left. We're teams right now figured out we don't have anything on the left. If Sanchez isn't on the left, the right back knows he can tuck in and just create a wall. Or the right back can go a bit mental and run forward if he wants to, because we don't have an attacking threat on the left at the moment. And in fact, we probably haven't had one since Robert Pires, I don't think, of any great note. Guys like Podolski were never at that level.
That's very true. It's very true.
Now Man City, obviously Kompany's now injured again, but they drew 1-1 away to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Paul, where do you see Man City ending up in the Champions League?
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, I agree with what Terry said about teams needing momentum and experience and to do well in the Champions League. The thing that's hobbling Man City is that they're still relatively new to the success game. I mean, I'm very old. I remember them when they were terrible. I remember them floundering around in the old second division, even heading for the old third division. That's how far back I go. But you can't. Terry's absolutely right. You develop a sense for these things. You develop a kind of a feel for playing those enormous games. And the team that's been put together the way Man City's been put together, and also with the added pressure of them having Guardiola there, and all the expectation that engenders as well, it builds up a pressure on a team. And I think sometimes that has the effect of crushing the team instead of innovating it. Instead of pushing it on to achieve things, it kind of limits it. It's people are. Although I suppose now they've got Yaya Toure back, they bought him a birthday cake, and his agent has apologised to everybody. He's got nothing to worry about. I'm sure they'll be fine. But it's as Tal says, it's a difficult situation if you're not always there or thereabouts. You're not always knocking on the door. That's what I think. But I think they'll do. I think they'll do well. There we are. I think they'll do well.
But do you know his fan chant though, Yaya Toure? I'm sure you know it. Give us a preview. Ya 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 ya.
No limits.
Not tonight, yeah.
No. No singing. Not tonight.
Well, just quickly, Leicester are through as we knew, and Celtic, poor old Celtic, Pascal. Another defeat tonight.
I mean, did you expect anything else from from Celtic? Having Brendan Rodgers as the coach. I mean, Celtic. Celtic, I mean, unfortunately, they will never really be the kind of team that goes to the very end in football. Certainly at this elite level of football, it's one of the teams that unfortunately makes up the numbers every season. The Scottish League is not competitive enough, in my opinion, to warrant Celtic to be able to succeed at that level. Particularly at the European level, they're going to have to either buy players for the Champions League, and unfortunately, there's not enough attraction in Scotland apart from the whiskey and the Scotch, to attract players.
And the shortbread.
And the shortbread, of course. I mean, it's a very. And of course, if they force them to wear kilts, it's a game over, but it's very, very difficult, to attract any players, above Newcastle, as Paul Mitchell would tell you himself, so I think, Celtic, unfortunately, will always be mediocre, in that competition. Very much so. So I'm not particularly surprised, but look, they still have the Scottish League, to worry about, and the national cups, and I'm pretty sure that Celtic will pick up some silverware domestically. But it's the end of the road for them as far as European Championship is concerned.
Yeah, the violins are out. Now, enough of the doom and gloom. I've got some really exciting news to make you all happy. England are set to appoint Gareth Southgate as manager. Guys, can I get a clap for that? Come on, guys, let's clap for that.
There we go.
Terry.
Slow hand clap.
or who's going to bring the violin out? But Terry, now this is really exciting news. Are you going to really be shouting at the rooftops tomorrow morning when it's announced, or next week when it's announced?
I will be watching videos of Middlesbrough under Gareth Southgate just to remember what he was like and what we can look forward to. How many times have we heard this idiot referred to as the football intellectual? Somehow because he wears a suit and he talks quite slowly, they think he's, this myth that Southgate was always quite continental in the way he played the game and the way he thought about the game. Well, he had his chance at Middlesbrough and that just looked absolutely shocking from where I could see. Not sold on him as a manager, not sold on him as anything really. Is that the best we could do, really?
Well, it kind of was, because there's nobody else that was queuing up.
Glenn Hoddle. Put Glenn Hoddle back in there and have someone who actually understands the game of football, who can give us a way of playing that will be consistent and won't change. I'm tired of hearing who should we start with, what system should we play. Glenn Hoddle will go in there and he'll go, right, this is where we're playing. Even if it's wrong for a couple of years, we can live with that. But Southgate's not the guy to usher in a revolution in English football.
Southgate's not the guy, in Terry's words. Now, Paul.
Yeah.
Rooney, a lot of people are saying he's going to sit down soon.
Yeah.
Should he apply for the England job at the last minute?
Should he apply for the England? I don't think he's got the hair for it, frankly. I don't think he's got the hair for it. Well, not really. I mean, going back to Southgate just quickly, the problem, as Tell has identified, Southgate isn't a choice. He's a lack of options.
Yes.
And when you look at, Eddie Howe's a lovely manager, but he's too young. I tell you what, with what Terry was just saying there, thoughts occurred to me. We need a strong manager. We need an experienced manager. We need a manager with a way of playing, a defined thing that all the players can get behind.
Wait, Paul.
I'm going to throw my weight behind.
No, Paul, I've got to interrupt here.
Tony Pulis.
Tony Pulis?
Yeah. Tony Pulis.
Wow. Terry, can you take Paul to A&E right now?
No, he needs to go to that place. He needs to go to that place they took Kanye.
That's it. Yeah, Kanye West.
Before I get shot, yeah, absolutely. It's a good idea.
Paul, I actually thought 1 minute you were heading towards Christian Gross. You remember Christian Gross?
Yes, the man with the tube ticket, waving his tube ticket about, showing what man of the people he was. Oh man! Pascal. Southgate's a company man. That's why the FA don't want any. They don't want any trouble. They don't want any surprises. They're not bothered if we win or lose. They're just going to put a company man in there who's going to say yes. And by the way, Gareth Southgate is incredibly thin-skinned. I remember a story circulating that he dropped Ray Parlour from the Middlesbrough team when he played there for saying, and I quote, that Gareth had a big nose to his face. That's a true story. I think Ray Parlour's corroborated that on another station. But yeah, so there you go. That's how tough Gareth Southgate is.
Pascal,
Oui.
your reaction now, being French, I know you're reveling in this moment. Gareth Southgate is going to be the England manager.
Well, I'm looking forward to France. I hope that France draw England in the competition in the World Cup. I hope they stay in the, I hope that France can be in the same group as England, because it's not going to be a difficult game, to beat a Gareth Southgate managed England team. I mean, look, Gareth Southgate has done a very good job at for the under 21s. He's that type of level of manager, but for him to step into the big time, and to take on very big teams, it's I think he will struggle, if I'm brutally honest with you, because when you look at world football, you look at the ensemble, you look at the package, and you look at the players, of course, and you look at who is managing this team, and Gareth Southgate hasn't done enough in English football domestically to warrant any form of fair, or even to warrant any form of respect, and he's now been given the opportunity to coach at the highest level. We'll soon find out very, very quickly whether Gareth Southgate has the mental strength, to navigate through the media scrutiny, to be able to handle the players the way that, a lot of the public wants the players to be handled. I think Paul made a very, very interesting point in Tony Pulis, because Tony Pulis is that kind of manager of, old school tactics, doesn't quite care. But very much so, he doesn't care whether you drive a Bentley or a Ford Clio. He just wants you to play football. He wants you to do he wants you to do a job, and I can see where Paul is coming from, in terms of having the character. Sometimes it's not always about, to have a manager that can morph England into this European style of tiki-taka football. England always have a very interesting style, that is very much unique to the Anglo-Saxon game, and it has to remain that way. But at the same time, it's about character. And do we see enough of the character of the England team in the international games? I don't particularly think so. When England played against Iceland, I saw a Viking spirit in that team, and that was very much what carried Iceland against England, of course. But I just do not see that fighting spirit that comes from England. England is a warring country, warring nation, and I just don't see that in the way they play the football. It's not aggressive enough. It's not conquering enough, and perhaps it's down to the type of management, and there needs to be a collective belief, a mental belief within the team, to ignite that kind of passion. It's not always about the physicality of the game, Frankie B. It's about the intangible elements that need to be harnessed when you're facing international opposition. And for some reason, England has not reconnected with itself, with the soul of this team, with who they are, and they need to reconnect themselves with who they are and why they are playing. And then eventually, you'll see an England team that can perform at the highest level. And to me, that's what England need to focus on in the first instance. Let's get that spirit back.
Brilliant. I absolutely agree, Pascal. Every word you said, absolutely agree.
Thank you. Merci.
3 lines and all.
Of course.
Right. Now that's our time, guys. I'd like to thank Angela. I'd like to thank Terry. I'd like to thank Pascal and Paul Mitchell. Join us again next week for another Pep Talk UK Sports podcast. Thank you.